What up? What up, y'all? This is the first episode, Monarchs of Wrestling. It's your boy Cool McCain, and I'm joined for the first time on one of my shows by my guy, Playmaker. Playmaker, what's up, man?
What's up, cool? You've been wanting to have this moment for the longest.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Key in the building in the chat with the RIP Bray. Absolutely. But hey, man, appreciate everybody that tunes in. I mean, first episode, so it's take people time to really see what's popping off with it. But gonna be talking all things WWE, AEW. We may slide in a little Impact, a little New Japan, depending on something major happens. But yeah, man, we're gonna get to it. And there's only one place for us to start, man. We gotta start with Friday night. Yeah, we gotta start with SmackDown, man. Like, if you've been living in a rock and you didn't hear the news, which I doubt was really possible, but just in case, Wyndham Rotunda, aka Bray Wyatt, passed away on Thursday. The day before that, Terry Funk passed away. These are two guys. Obviously, Terry Funk, a legend, Hall of Famer, guy that's been around, did a lot for the business, a lot for a lot of people. And then Bray Wyatt, man, he's having some heart troubles, caught COVID, that exacerbated the issues. And then, that fateful morning, he went to take a nap and he never woke up. So, yeah, two tough things, man. But it was crazy because WWE had to do a complete pivot for SmackDown. They had to basically erase and do a completely different show. They had people from Raw and people from SmackDown that came. Some people weren't able to make it. I know one big thing a lot of people were saying is, "Oh, why wasn't Alexa Bliss there? Alexa wasn't able to get there. That's why she wasn't there." For her to have gotten there, she would have been able to get there on time. Because it's hard to book these things because you got to remember she's out
That's
pregnant, so she's not part of
that's why she did it.
product right now.
That's why
Yeah,
she did Instagram Live,
I
and
know,
she
man.
said and she said it on there. The reason why I good, 'cause by the time I got there, the show would have been over.
Yep, I know, man. But you know how it is. Why wasn't this person there? Why wasn't that person there?
So, and what people don't understand, and you broke it down. Wednesday, Terry Funk passes.
Mm-hmm.
24 hours later, Bray Wyatt passes. SmackDown is the very next day.
Yeah, it took a lot to go into that. Sam just with the "What's up, fellas? What's up, Sam?" And then Keith says, "Plus, she's pregnant." Agree.
Matter of fact, the fact that they was able to do a show last week is remarkable.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not even the fact that they had two wrestlers pass away in a
Mm-hmm.
week. It was back-to-back days right before you had a show. They
Yeah,
really,
man.
they really didn't have time to really process this, take time to themselves. They had to figure this out on the go.
Right, and like I said, they had some people from Raw and SmackDown showed up. Man, they did away with everything that pretty much that they were going to do for the show and came up with a whole new theme for this. And you got to appreciate that because that's difficult to do, man. When you're looking at long-term storylines, you got a pay-per-view coming up soon. Payback coming up this weekend. So you have a lot of things happening. And then on top of that, you had to basically scrap a whole show and make it into a memorial show for two wrestlers. One, an active person who was scheduled to be back soon. So that's kudos to them. We can say what we want about WWE, and some people like AEW better or this place or that place, but you have to give them kudos for what they did with that show on Friday night.
I mean, dealing with one death is hard enough. They had to deal with two.
Yeah.
Within 48 hours.
Yeah. So go ahead.
I
Plumber.
commend WWE for doing what they did because I just can imagine how hard that is. Just doing one, because I'm pretty sure they already had a package set for Terry Funk,
Mm-hmm.
and then the very next day you hear Bray Wyatt is like, okay, ugh.
And see, the thing is, and here's the difference I want people to also think about this. So Terry Funk was a legend, Hall of Famer. He got in his flowers. He had that career. He had that expansive life. He was like 79. He had some health issues, and I'm not saying that a death is ever tough or it's ever not tough. It's not difficult, but he had those things. He had those accolades. He had the chance to have a career, be a mentor for others, go through his career, get into old age, and so on and so forth. Bray Wyatt was 36 years old. Right around where you start to think about the prime of a wrestler's career.
And and everybody was waiting for him to come back. They was getting ready for it.
Yeah. I mean, I've said it on my show on Friday. He was my favorite character, right? I mean, I won't say he was my favorite wrestler because he was still working on that side of things, but he was my favorite character because he was able to switch to so many different roles and still kind of give you a little something outside about something different, something to make you watch for, right? Talk about when he came back before the rabbits and all the different things that they were doing. It was just something unique, something different. And I was excited for it, right? And I love his creative mind. And unfortunately, we'll never see things come to fruition the way that he wanted them to, because unfortunately, he's no longer with us. And that's tough.
That man knew how to be creepy.
Yeah.
He knew how to make you feel some type of way.
Yeah.
And I ain't talking about heat either.
Mm-hmm.
He make you say, "What am I watching right now?"
But like in the dopest way possible. I mean, he went from this kind of weird redneck cult leader guy, right, to the original Fiend. Then he kind of was gone for a while and came back, right? And he had this new character, and it's just amazing, man. The Firefly Funhouse, that was something new and different. The Mr. Rogers type brain and the Fiend and hurt heel gloves and all the good stuff. All the little just tidbits and things that he slid into these characters that if you didn't really pay attention, you may have overlooked. Right. This was a guy that really, really loved the business, came up in the business. For those who don't know, his dad was IRS. So this is a guy that came up in the business.
And I said this, I'm pretty sure you probably said this, cool. He was the Undertaker of this generation.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That supernatural type thing. I mean,
when that music hit, when he the Fiend, you're not happy right now. Because you do not, that's the last music you want to hear if you in the ring. The lights going out, you already know.
Yep. And then as Key does say, his uncle was Barry Windham, and that's why he got the name Windham Rotunda. Mike Rotunda was his dad. So he was those are two families that are wrestling families. And he was part of both of those families. And it's crazy. But let's go through a little bit of the show, man. I know it's tough. I didn't get to watch it when it happened because I was on another show, but I did, get a chance to watch it.
Oh, I watched it a lot.
And I got to tell you, man, like when it came on and they had the split screen there with both of them, the first 5 minutes, man, I was rubbing my eyes, man. See, this is where you have an advantage, sir, because you have the witness protection set up. So you have an advantage right now, right? Because you can talk about these things and you can hide your face, right?
Man, to be honest with you, I don't know how I kept it together through that whole show.
Yeah.
I don't know how. And you knew it's just like, and you can see it in all the superstars' face.
Mm-hmm.
You knew it. It's like they hurting. They is hurting.
Yeah, the amount of even on the show where they were showing the different quotes from people and different things they said, but even people going live. I don't know if you had a chance to see, but Booker T found out live on the show.
Oh, I seen that.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, man, when you have a guy like Booker T, just pretty much do everything to spite breaking down on camera.
And my thing is, everybody was getting on his co-host. I'm like, there's nothing you can't prepare for that.
Mm-mm.
They should have went. Dude, they literally just got on air and news popped in just like that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't did it. It's pretty much as if you did the intro, right?
Mm-hmm.
And right after the intro, bam, the news hit.
Right.
You stuck. You was literally stuck.
Yeah. I mean, I respect the fact that he was able to get it together to finish things. You know what I'm saying? Because that's hard. And these are all this is like a brotherhood and a sisterhood, right? All the people that are in WWE, obviously people in wrestling in general, but people are in WWE and people who have been there in Booker T, even though he's not an active wrestler, he's an announcer, so he's around the people that are in right now. So that's big to him, and that's something that he sees, that's something that he's a part of. The Rock came out, just everybody, man, and they showed Bray so much love, and everybody talked about how positive he was and how much fun he was to be around. Like you said, Alexa Bliss, she did her Instagram live, and it was just so much, man. It was great.
I would say this.
What's up, Rod?
There's a saying, a picture's worth 1,000 words.
Mm-hmm.
LA Knight put that to heart. Because all he did was post a picture of him and Ray Wyatt looking
Yep.
at each other, doing
Mm-hmm.
their feud. That's it. And everybody that's new. Yeah.
And that was the last feud.
You was the last person
Mm-hmm.
seen on television with Bray Wyatt.
Boy, I tell you, we're gonna get to that, but that was a fire promo to LA Knight. Ooh, he dropped some heat that night. If he wasn't already a star in your eyes, if he wasn't a star after what he said Friday, then you'll never like him. I mean, I don't know what else he can do. But I love Cody. He came out, he did the promo. He talked about you know, meetings between his daddy and we're gonna use his different names throughout the show. I'm gonna use Chainsaw Charlie right now because we know Terry Funk had many different names. But his meeting with his dad, Chainsaw Charlie. He was like, "Who's that person talking trash about dad and my grandma?" And then it was, of course, him, Terry Funk's wild man. So it was just great to see that personal side of him and how he affected even so many years later, Dusty's son. And I appreciate the fact that the WWE took the time to also acknowledge him and not just make the entire show about Bray. I do agree with the fact that most of the show should have and was about Bray because he was the active guy. He's the guy that you got to kind of give more of the flowers to because you didn't expect it, right? And I mean, it's more so for JoJo and his kids, right? Because he's not here anymore, but and his family. But I think it was a great way to do it. Another thing that I saw a lot of things in there people were complaining about was the fact that the bloodline wasn't on the show.
The bloodline. See, the only person from the bloodline that was going to be on the show was Jimmy. That was it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. So Roman Reigns ended up being there. Him and Solo were there.
No, they were there, and what they did behind the scene because see, they didn't want Roman Reigns to break character on television, but do it behind the scenes. It's gonna be reported anyway.
Yep.
But people just ain't gonna be able to see it.
Right. So yep.
So he gave the Blue Universal Championship to JoJo. It's official because everybody's like, when he's gonna give up those other two belts? When he gave it up with the passing of Bray Wyatt, he gave it up. He gave it to JoJo. Here you go. Because that's who Roman Reigns took it from.
Yep. So yep, he did. He gave it to JoJo. You're 100% right, and that was great, man. That was a moment that shouldn't have been public. People can say what they want, but that needed to happen behind the scenes, right? There needed to be something that they did for the memory and for the symbolism of it, not necessarily for the camera. So I like the way they handled that. So the matches, a lot of guys used moves or said different things, like the Street Profits. There was like
Montez
got the whole world in their hands. Yep, Montez Ford's got the whole world in their hands. Rey Mysterio did the clothesline and the other move at the time, so they were doing things.
He had the band with what they had for Eddie Guerrero. He had it for both Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt.
Yep, a lot of people had the bands, so a lot of great homages to them throughout the night. And then, of course, man, we have to talk about the LA Knight promo. LA Knight came out, man.
This is one of the few SmackDowns that I actually enjoy because it just do the show. Let's go perform. We ain't gonna worry about interferences and building storylines. No, we just gonna do the show. We're gonna put on the show for Bray Wyatt and everybody because everybody's feeling the same. From the superstars to the fans, everybody's feeling the same. Everybody's shocked. We're just gonna go out perform. Don't even worry about storyline telling. Just do the show. And that's what it was.
Yep. And then the promo itself, man, he came out, he talked about, and I'll paraphrase it, but he came out and he's basically talking about, how you can learn things from your enemies too, and how he learned some things from Bray Wyatt. And then, of course, he got into the part about the Miz. He ran the Miz down probably in 30, 45 seconds. Better than I think anybody's ran the Miz down in a while.
He torched the Miz.
Yes, he did.
Good. And then to finish it off, he went back to Bray Wyatt.
He went back to Bray Wyatt. Held the hand and said, I got one more thing to say.
What?
He said, Miz, when you see me, run. And he didn't just say run. If you looked at his face, he meant that.
No, if you hear his tone.
Yes.
He said it like Bray Wyatt.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's it. He get it. He gets it.
He had
he understands
everything, bro. Everything. It's crazy.
This man understands the business of storytelling.
A lot of people.
Everybody, you can hate on him because he's like the mixed version of The Rock and Stone Cold put together. But guess what? If you actually listen to him outside of WWE, that's how he talks anyway.
Yeah, he was like that.
He's not making it up.
Mm-hmm.
This is really LA Knight.
Yep. When he was in, I used to watch him when he was in Impact when he was Eli Drake. Same thing. Right. This is not like a made up character. This is just who he is.
The name just changed. The personality didn't.
Absolutely. And what's great about it, man, is people like Kevin Nash. So people don't understand, right? Like you go on and you try to drag LA Knight, you say, oh, he's a clone of The Rock and Stone Cold. And he has some original stuff in there too. Let's be real. But you want to say he's like a clone of those two guys, right? You want to talk bad about it, you want to drag his name a little bit. All you're doing is make more people watch and say, what are they talking about? You're not hurting LA Knight.
And the funny thing is, most of these people complaining about LA Knight are the same one that complain. Maybe we want to go back to the Attitude Era. Get LA Knight. Literally in the midst of the two biggest stars from the Attitude Era.
Yep. So there's been some speculation, and we're spending a lot of time on this. If we don't get some of the stuff, oh well, this is an important thing. But there's been some speculation about what's going to happen with Uncle Howdy and everything else that they were doing now that Bray passed.
Yeah.
So there's two sides, right? There's a side that says, oh, maybe they can try to continue things, rework it, and still kind of do it in the memory of Bray Wyatt, or you just drop everything altogether. So for me, I liked the supernatural aspect. I liked the difference. I liked it being unique. We know who Uncle Howdy is. Uncle Howdy is his brother, Bo Dallas. Okay, that's who Uncle Howdy is. We know it. So why not have Uncle Howdy still do something? Maybe not exactly what they were going to do, but still have the Uncle Howdy character. When Alexa Bliss comes back, she joins some other people and still have like the Wyatt family or Wyatt Six thing that they were initially talked about they were doing. I would like to see it just because I'd like for them to continue where things were going. I understand it won't be the same without Bray Wyatt. I get that, but try to continue it because that's something that would be positive for his family, right? Because his family can get part of the proceeds from the merchandise and all that good stuff. It'd be something else that his brother can do in the vein of his brother to kind of honor his memory as well. And you can still have that supernatural aspect that I think you need. I think that's what, like the Undertaker for so long, that's what he brought. He had deteriorated in the ring a lot by the time he was at the end, but it was still that supernatural aspect. It was still that aura, and you need that. And Bray Wyatt was that guy, but like we said several times already, he can't be that guy anymore. So why not see if we can get Uncle Howdy in there and see what we can do with that?
It's gonna be interesting. I'm actually interested in what they're gonna do tonight.
Yeah. But I tell you,
because now you got past the first part of this whole process.
Mm-hmm.
You got through the first show. You got through SmackDown. You had the weekend to deal with it, like the legit deal with what's happening. And now we at Monday night. What does Monday Night Raw look like?
That is completely true, sir. That is completely true. A question for you. No, we got to get into All In, talk about that a little bit. Before we do that, was there anything from Raw that kind of stuck out to you?
To be honest with you, I am. It's there. I can't. I got one question that I'm looking at because we are about because me and Ryan we looked this up doing Snowman in the morning. We're
Mm-hmm.
about a week, 2 weeks away from Gunther breaking the record.
Mm-hmm. They'll be after Payback. Yep.
Are we putting the title on Chad Gable or not? That's my question because it's right there. The record is right there. But Chad Gable has taken himself to another level.
So my answer to that question to you would simply be this: it could happen, but I don't believe it's going to happen prior to him breaking a record. I think he's going to break the record. So what I would expect was something along the lines of one of the things that WWE loves to do. I would expect him to do something along the lines of run in or something happens within the match, so we don't get a clear winner. So then we need to come back and redo it, and then that's when we actually have the win. Because I don't think they wouldn't do it before he does because you've done all this build up, right? So you got to kind of have a payoff of him breaking the record. But I definitely believe that Chad Gable may be the guy to take the belt off of, and that would give him such a huge push for him to be able to be the first one to beat Gunther by pinning him, because he's always the first one to quote unquote beat Gunther with a 5 minute challenge, but to actually pin him and win the championship, that would be amazing for his career.
Because what do you think of Gunther said you can't stay in the ring with me for 5 minutes. I'm looking like when it first happened, I'm looking like, oh, Chad Gable got this. Oh, Chad Gable got this. He gonna be in the ring for 5 minutes. I know that. And it
Yeah.
happened. And then you beat him because you suplex him over to the timekeeper's area.
Mm-hmm.
And you was like, the next time we see each other, I'm taking the title now. Because Chad Gable understood. Hey, I won the match. I might not have won the title, but guess what? I'm on you now.
Yep.
And if you look at Gunther's ring, I mean, it's the who's who of you can beat.
Yeah, he's beat
And how many
everybody.
times and how many times he said he was like, okay, this is the time for Gunther to lose. He ends up winning. We thought Sheamus was gonna get him. Nope. Because that was the only title that eluded Sheamus. Yeah, let's give Sheamus that title. Let's let him get it. Finally get the title. No. Yeah, Drew McIntyre. We really thought Drew McIntyre was gonna be the one. He just came back too. And we know how WWE is when somebody returning. Oh yeah, it's on. Nah, we're gonna keep it on Gunther. And he's not just winning these matches, he's winning them cleanly. He is a heel winning clean matches.
And in dominant fashion as well. Like he is whooping some yass, as the big homie Chris Bates would say. He's whooping some yass. So
No
yeah.
interference, no
Yep.
cheating. And I think that's what helping him get more heat. It's like, will somebody hurt him and beat him?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, can somebody actually beat him? Because he just beating everybody and it's not nothing dirty.
think we're gonna get I think we're gonna get some very interesting things here. I think we're gonna get him losing to Chad Gable. Like I said, it'll be after he reaches the mark. So I don't see that yet has been added to Payback, but we know WWE will add 2 or 3 matches tonight, maybe one on Friday, because we know how WWE does it now, right? So it hasn't been announced as of yet, but I do expect at least a couple more matches to
And,
happen
and,
for
that's, and
Payback
that's what
tonight.
people forget. It says carb subject to change because they advertise something doesn't mean it's gonna stay that way.
Yep. Yep. And the only other thing for me that really stood out from Raw, of course, the Miz and LA Knight thing. I like this back and forth and how that's being handled, because it's elevating Miz to look like a real threat to defeat LA Knight It is also elevating LA Knight because Miz is like a gatekeeper of sorts. Miz is a guy that, I mean, he hasn't won a lot recently, and we can all agree with that. But at the same time, when Miz gives you that rub, you kind of shoot up once you get that rub from the Miz. So, that's where I see this thing is going. Is great for both of them.
Now my focus is now the focus is should be everybody's main focus is Judgment Day. Because now we have a clear cut leader of Judgment Day. And the problem is, how long are we gonna keep this going before one or the other turns on each other? Because you know it's coming. You know it's coming.
The psychology of what they're doing with Judgment Day right now is amazing. I'm in the minority. I don't think anybody's going to leave. I think they're going to add JD McDonough, and I think they're going to have some tension, but I think that they're not going to break away. And of course, I'm in the minority because a lot of people feel like that one of them or the other is going to break away. And the reason I say that is we have the bloodline already doing the same thing. So we're going to have the bloodline break up, and then we're going to turn around and have Judgment Day have to make another change. Keep in mind, when they started, they had Edge. They kicked him out. So we're just going to have the bullet. We're just going to have them Judgment Day just continue to keep people out. I mean, at some point, I think it's going to be teased for a while. I think Priest doesn't cash Money in the Bank in for a while. I think Balor gets another opportunity first. I don't know if he's going to be able to be successful or not, but he's going to get another chance.
So, because I'm gonna be honest, when they first introduced JD McDonough, he told it like it is. That Money in Bank contract is the reason why y'all two are going through this right now. And you know it's gonna happen. That contract, like they are literally making the contract back to what it need to be. That contract is so important. We need to find out if Finn gonna get this title or Priest is gonna get this title.
Yeah,
and
I
a
think
lot of people are saying Finn wins it, Damian Priest catches in on Finn Balor. I'm like, that's nasty work though. And then when I think about that contract is so special. They need to make it that special again. Because before we had this run of people not being able to cash in,
yeah.
you just knew when it was time somebody to cash in, you just knew, oh Lord, he's finna cash in. And there's nothing the champion can do right now because the champion's already beaten up.
But see, here's the thing. If you really want to make this contract what it used to be, have Priest carry it to WrestleMania and have him cash in at WrestleMania. That's how you make this contract what it used to be, right? You have him rock with it up until the point.
You say WrestleMania. I'm thinking Royal Rumble. Because I don't believe they're going to have him win the Royal Rumble.
Well, see, I don't think he's going to win a Royal Rumble. So that's what I'm saying. You remember what Seth Rollins did?
Oh,
Seth Rollins took it all the way there.
There's no topping what Seth Rollins did.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. He can do it at WrestleMania. He can wait until whichever champion he wants to target, right? Wins their match or wins their match and becomes champion. Come out, clock him with the case, cash it in. Because the biggest value that this men's case has right now is that you're carrying it. So you're always the threat. Once you cash it in, you're no longer the threat. Whether you win or lose, you're no longer the threat. But if you're carrying it, you're always a threat. You can always tease. You can go to SmackDown. You can tease cashing it in on Roman Reigns when he appears. You can tease cashing it in on Seth Rollins if he loses it to Finn Balor. You can do that as well. So I think for me, and you may be more along the lines of what WWE actually does, because we both know that they do what they do what they want to do. Make a long story short, but if you really look at this from the perspective of how you make it the best it can be, you have him continue to carry the briefcase and tease, but not actually cash it in. The quicker you cash it in, the less significant it becomes until you have the next one. If you have him carry this up to like WrestleMania or the night after WrestleMania, that he cashes in on somebody, that puts this bad boy at top tier level again. Now, Triple H may think about it, do something like that, but these other guys, I don't know. So we'll see how that works out.
I
But
mean,
I do
as of right
agree they're
now,
making it better.
Damian Priest is already putting it back to where it was because Damian Priest can actually go with anybody in the ring. So he ain't like last year when we had Otis win. We all knew Otis wasn't gonna win no world championship. We knew that.
Otis should have won for the
It was a great first story.
Intercontinental Championship.
It was
He
a
should be
great
like
first
Austin
story
Theory.
because everybody was on Otis because him and Mandy Rose. But realistically, when you came off your high, you was like, "There's no way he's going to cash in on any world champions. That's not happening."
Yeah, and the best part, the sexiest part to me, is that you put it on the guy that was already you already were putting the rocket on his back. You hadn't turned it on yet, but you already had the rocket on his back, and you let that guy get that money in the bank. So a lot of people are mad because they say, "Oh, LA Knight should have got the money in the bank." LA Knight does not need the money in the bank briefcase to make him a star. LA Knight doesn't need it to win. LA Knight can go win the Royal Rumble. That's who could win the Royal Rumble. Somebody like LA Knight can go win the Royal Rumble, right? So you got to think about Cody is going to be facing one of these champions at WrestleMania. We know
I'm
that.
already saying it's Roman Reigns. Okay,
I
we
believe it's
got to
going to, yeah,
we finishing that story.
that's the only way to somewhat satisfy the WWE universe is have him actually beat Roman Reigns. He's got to beat Roman Reigns, get that belt, and then change that belt to the Winged Eagle belt. That's what we need to happen.
You wasn't around with me and Cole when we talked about SummerSlam, the aftermath. When Brock Lesnar did what he did after that match, that told everything I needed to know. All right, when it's time, Cody coming back from Roman Reigns. That's all I needed because Brock Lesnar gave him what he needed.
Yep, he got the Lesnar rub. Because I was wondering what was the whole point of doing all this. Then I saw that and I said, oh, they gave him the Lesnar rub. Brock Lesnar gave him the Lesnar rub, and Brock Lesnar does not give it out easily.
I don't think he's like Michael said. I don't think Brock Lesnar has ever done that.
Agreed. So
and that's what I knew. I said Cody Rhodes coming from Roman Reigns, and it's gonna happen. And he's taking that title this time.
Yeah, I've been saying that since he lost. But yeah, I definitely think that they're doing a slow build too, and people are not looking at what's happening. Like Cody was about to go after Seth Rollins, right? Every time he tries to kind of get that started, something happens. It was Judgment Day this time. The first time it was Brock Lesnar. Like he never can get that thing where they can actually have that match. And I mean, it would be a great match because they really don't like each other. So I'm sure there would be some very stiff work involved in that match. And for those of you who may not be familiar with wrestling terminology, stiff work means the moves are actually being hit very religiously. Those punches are real. Those chops are real. Those slams and those suplexes, they're real.
Yeah, that torn pec was real.
Yeah. So I think that, it would be some stiff work if we get them in the ring again, but I don't think WWE is going to do that because Cody would have to win that match, and then you run the risk of saying Seth Rollins is like what 0-3 or 0-4 against Cody Rhodes, and do you really want that for your guy that's been your champion for a while? So you kind of paint yourself back into a creative corner with Cody and Seth. So you got to kind of find a way to keep them away from each other. And I think they're doing a really good job of kind of making them kind of hesitant allies. That's the best way that they can do it since they're both baby faces as at this point. But Playmaker, let's run over this card real quick, and then we got to get into that wonderful pay-per-view or premium live event, whatever you want to call it, that happens early on Saturday. All right, so the first confirmed match is The Miz versus LA Knight. I mean, I'll be real quick. Yeah, this was winning.
I mean, Miz is just there for right now. Mm-hmm. He's still entertaining and whatnot, but he's just there for right now. You know it's LA Knight.
Yep. United States Championship match: Rey Mysterio versus Austin Theory.
This one's a tough one for me because I didn't think they was gonna put it on. I didn't think they was gonna put it on Rey.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I'm gonna go Rey Mysterio winning because I think that there's only one person that's gonna take their belt off of Rey Mysterio, and that's gonna be Santos Escobar.
See, here's my thing though. Do you want to put it on Santos Escobar or do you want to put it on LA Knight? Because to be honest, LA Knight is not really talking about the world championship. He's going the slow route to the
Hmm.
top. So, and by the way, he did win the SummerSlam Battle Royal.
He did.
And there's supposed to be a prize to go along with that, if I remember correctly, when Adam Pearce said when he first announced this match.
Did it end up being like a lifetime supply of Slim Jims or something?
I don't remember. But maybe Austin Theory gets the title back. And then he messes around and has to finally run into LA Knight.
I thought about that too, and I can't disagree with that. But like I said, in my mind, I'm thinking Ray wins. Ray has a couple more defenses. Finally, Santos is completely healthy. He gets a shot. The student beats the mentor. Santos becomes the United States Championship. Now, I'm not expecting a long reign for Santos because once Santos wins, guess who's then going to be done with a couple of other feuds with mid card guys and being built up the old fashioned way? The guy you're talking about, LA Knight. So, I mean, either way it goes, the end game is I do believe this United States Championship is going to be on LA Knight. I just think it's going to go Rey Mysterio, Santos, Escobar, LA Knight, where I think you think it's going to go Rey Mysterio, Austin Theory, LA Knight. So either way, we're getting to where we want to go. I just like the story in between of Santos and Ray, maybe next month's pay per view or the pay per view after that.
But if we go that route, are we keeping it the way it is between them two?
Yes.
Or are we going to have that you know what happened?
Now, I would keep it the way of Ray saying, Santos, you're healthy, man. And I got the spot because you weren't healthy. So let's have the match. I got hurt in the match we had before. You got hurt, and then I won the championship. So this is kind of like a chance for us to have a good competitive match, and whoever wins, wins. Because Santos needs the championship way more than Rey Mysterio if it's the United States Championship. Rey Mysterio, the United States Championship, really serves no purpose. If we're being 100% honest, at this point in his career, he's a Hall of Famer already. This serves no purpose.
You're right. It doesn't.
So even
But
if
it
they take
was.
it off and give it a
But
theory, I wouldn't be mad. Just get it off
it
Rey
was. It
Mysterio.
was a. It was a. It was a feel good month for the WWE universe to see Austin Theory finally lose.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of people that were very pleased with that aspect happening. So we can hop over to the comments real quick and then we'll go back to the match card. So Keith says I want them to have him break it, talking about Gunther. I can see a DQ finish, and then she was agreeing with me with a thank you. And then got a couple of more here. So we got, I think Priest is gone. That's what a lot of people are saying. So Wise, what's up, big bro? He says, when am I getting an invite? All you got to do is ask, right? All you ain't even got to ask. You just do what you did. Hey, we'll be ready for you next week. And he says, good evening, my brothers.
That man Wise.
All right. And then Jedediah McCain says, can they really delay finishing the story for that long, though?
They have.
Yeah, they've already done it. I think they can.
They barely in the process of it. That's why they have the bloodline going through all these turmoils right now. It's literally like, all right, we slowly breaking down the bloodline within.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we finally get the full breakdown of it, Cody Rhodes comes. You must have forgot. But I have a story to finish with you.
Mm-hmm.
If he says that promo at the start of all, we good. My story finishes with you.
Pretty much. All right. And Jedediah also says, also happy to be here for the flagship episode of the show. Onwards and upwards. Hopefully you guys will get Cornette numbers eventually. Well,
Man, look,
I don't know if we'll ever get Cornette numbers because all he does is hate.
I can tell you this though. If you go back to Snowman in the morning when Cool, myself, and Cole Johnson talked wrestling, It's something different.
Yes, sir. And they say Santos is going to beat Ray. Why says that?
So
I
so
agree.
why is with you
Yeah.
have Santos beat Ray?
Yeah, I mean, you get into the same. The end point is LA Knight with the United States Championship. Don't get me wrong, that's the end point. But I'm just saying, I think they go the route that has a story behind it. The story of Ray and Santos having a real solid rivalry, that's a friendly rivalry, because we don't get a lot of those in WWE anymore. It's always somebody's got to turn on somebody. Good guy versus bad guy. Good two guys in the same faction. Hey, I got the belt, but really it should be yours because you should have had the match. So I want to give you the opportunity to get it. And then Santos getting it clean, not no roll ups or grab it trunks, but like clean getting the belt.
I can see
That
that because
boosts Santos.
I can see where he was like, you beat me, even though I got hurt. You won the match. You earned your shot,
Mm-hmm.
but you had a cheapskate and Austin Theory took that away from you,
Mm-hmm.
and you allowed me to step in your spot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only right that you get the match that you have earned. So I can see that.
No, I mean, that's what I see. But again, I'm not a writer, so they like to go a different way with stuff.
Yeah, I know they like going the way that I'm saying.
Yeah, you probably are going to be the way they go. All right, so the match to me that's go get your snacks, go to the bathroom, stretch if you need to, is the Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch steel cage match. And the reason being is
Except for me, because
this has been too long. Like, this should have already been finished. I have lost interest in this now. Becky Lynch is going to come out on top of this. We know that. So what are we doing here?
It depends on what kind of story they actually want to tell at the end of this. Because, I mean, how long is Trish's contract? Because we literally thought after SummerSlam she was done. That was it. But you push it back to Toronto, to Canada, her home country,
Mm-hmm.
and then you decide to keep it going. So when is this last match for Trish Stratus going to happen?
So I think what we're going to get from Trish is her really building Zoe Stark up. I think once Trish is done, whether she's just pretty much a manager after this or just fights every once in a while, but she's kind of the other person with Zoe Stark, and maybe they'll find another member. I think Trish is there to build up young stars, and that's a great role for Trish because she can still go. She still looks amazing. She still can wrestle. And having her with some youngsters and helping improve their status so that when she's gone, they're still at a higher level than they was when she began. That's the way to go with Trish. And I think that's what they're going to do. So I'm pretty sure she's got some more time on the contract and some more matches. But I don't see her doing as many matches after this little mini feud with Becky Lynch. And like I said, I think Becky Lynch has to come out on top, but it may not be in this match.
What we doing with Becky? Because we know we ain't putting Becky against Mommy no time soon. That is not going to happen.
Speaking of Mommy, sir, Mommy's got her biggest challenger, in my opinion.
And this is
at Payback.
And this is my thing. Depending on what the story is with the Judgment Day, depending on what direction WWE is going with the Judgment Day, if you're looking for something long term with Mommy, right? You pick the right person. They have history back in NXT. I remember that feud. That's when they first did it on Raw. I'm like, sign me up because I know what I'm finna get when these two are in the ring. If Mommy has been destroying everybody, like literally destroying everybody. If you want to break that shit a bit, Raquel is the one to do it. Not Becky Lynch. You want to make it look real legit? Raquel is the one to do it. That's if they trying to do, depends on what story they trying to tell for the Judgment Day. That's my only question. Where they trying to go with Judgment Day?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? It's definitely interesting, but I don't think she loses now But I think this is one of those she barely wins matches. This is Rhea seeing, oh, this is the chick who could take this belt from me. Finding a way to win, but knowing that I've got to keep her away from me because if she gets back, it may be a different ending. That's where I see, this match going. I think Raquel is going to make a wonderful stand, but I think she's going to end up on the losing end, probably because of Dominic Mysterio, and she doesn't have anyone in her corner because Liv's out hurt. So I
Okay,
think
they can go
that's
that
what's
route
going to happen.
because
Yeah,
my thing is if you have Rhea Ripley beat her like she been beating everybody else, you basically saying there's nobody stopping mommy.
right.
Like
Trish
she's
does
like
look good to be 47.
what? That's just me. If she beats Raquel cleanly, you basically saying she is unstoppable right now. She's untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you want to go that far with that right now. Make her vulnerable. Even if she keeps the title, make her vulnerable. Let her take a cheating win just to get out of there.
Yeah. So Wise does agree with you that JD will replace Priest in the Judgment Day. So I want to approach that from one different angle. I know we're talking about something else, but I just want to go back to that for 1 second. Think about it this way. Damian Priest is the punishment of the Judgment Day. He's like the enforcer. So if you take if you take Damian Priest out of the Judgment Day, you have Rhea Ripley as the strongest person. You then have Dirty Dom, whose only championship is the NXT championship, and not even the World Championship, the North American Championship. So the championship that he has is the secondary belt on the
I'm gonna give Don some
development show.
credit. I'm gonna give Don some flowers. This man for that's like turning on his father way back then. Has become the biggest heel in WWE. Let's get him on mic and listen to the whole arena.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's played a role, but he's another guy. He grew up in the business, right? Watching his dad in the business, so he understands that piece. He understands how to get the crowd either for you or against you.
Yeah,
and
but
he's mastered that part.
My thing is this: I don't think they knew it was gonna be like this.
Of course they didn't.
I think they just like, okay, you're gonna turn on your father, you're gonna do what you need to do, and the crowd they gonna hate you for a while. They ain't gonna like it, but it ain't gonna be like what it is. It's like, good gracious, you give him a mic to hope, you can't even hear him speak.
Right. Yeah, they definitely didn't. I completely agree. They didn't think it was going to be like that, but I think he understands what to do to a point where they didn't think he would, and that's why his character is getting over so well. But if you take Damian Priest out, that's the muscle, that's the big guy, that's the power guy, and you replace him with JD McDonough. So you're trying to make Finn an enforcer? That's not going to work. We both know it's not going to work. JD McDonough an enforcer? That's not going to work. You could essentially try to make Mommy the enforcer, but she's more the leader now. So your leader is never the enforcer, right? You have to look at right. She's the leader. So being that she's the leader, she's not going to be the enforcer as well. That's always a different person. So if you remove Damian Priest, if you tell me you're going to add someone else, that's a big, powerful guy, then okay. But if you're doing a Priest for JD McDonough, it doesn't make sense from what factions normally are. Now, again, we're talking about WWE. China wasn't the leader, though, Wise. That's the difference. China was never the leader.
That would have been Triple H.
Yeah, that was Triple H. Rhea's the leader of Judgment Day. Pretty much.
And it proved it. And it proved it last week.
Mm-hmm. The other
she
important
made
part
them
from
two
Raw,
tag together.
She made them tag. She said, "Y'all are going out there together. I'm done with this. This is what it is." So
she's the leader.
Yes. So that's the thing with her being a leader. I think you got to have a different enforcer, and that's why I look and say I don't think that removing Priest would be the right move, and they shouldn't do that. I think you add McDonough and you just tease the tension, but you let it ebb and flow. So sometimes the tension is a little bit higher, sometimes it's lower, right? So you kind of have it built in there if you ever want to complete it, but you have to add JD McDonough. If not, there's no point in him being on the main roster. Right? This whole thing is worthless if you don't add him.
See, my thing was when they first started teasing, I'm like, Finn Balor's finna turn on Damian Priest and Judgment Day.
That's what I really think things should go. I really think Finn should turn on them. Him and JD McDonough go off on their own, and they bring in someone else. That's what I think should happen. I don't think it should be Priest that turns. But honestly, I forgot who said it, but somebody said they run around like a bunch of emo kids. And honestly, they do like a bunch of emo kids together. And that's why the faction works. And that's why you might as well add JD McDonald, just to add another emo guy to it.
Because it's like he is obsessed. He wants the title, but he's obsessed with Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
And his obsession with Seth Rollins is the reason why there's a lot of tension in the Judgment Day. Because
he wants to be the one to beat him, but he can't beat him.
And then your partner is the one holding the most dangerous thing in WWE right now.
And here you go, just sitting there looking crazy, talking about how you got beat before and you never got a rematch and you never lost a championship, which is true. You didn't lose it. You had to forfeit it. But you've had several opportunities and you haven't gotten it done.
And that's where they messed up at for WWE. They hopped on this 7-year thing. 7 years is a long time. They try to get payback on somebody. That's a very long time.
You know what else they did? We got to go back to these other matches and get to the other thing too. But real quick, you know the other mistake they made? They had Edge beat the Demon. So the Demon is nowhere near what he was 7 years ago in the eyes of the fans, storyline wise, because of what you've done. If you had the Demon come out, when he's the Demon, the only person that should have beat him when he was a Demon was Roman Reigns with help. Or like a Brock Lesnar, right? Guys, it's just like here.
Matter of fact,
Edge should not have beat him as the Demon. That should not have happened.
I was at that show, and I love what they did. How in the world does the turnbuckle all of a sudden explode?
Right.
Where did that even come from?
Right. But you can't have the Demon take losses like that. That's supposed to be like his powered up version, right? That's supposed to be like the theme for him.
It was like, and you had him Hell in the Cell. It was Hell in the Cell too. It's like that's why it make me pick Finn Balor. Like, so you finna bring back the Demon, and you finna be inside Hell in the Cell. I love Edge, but Finn Balor got to win this one.
And they went the other way. And since then, now he can't talk about the Demon. Now he can't. Oh, I'm gonna turn to the Demon because the Demon can be by Edge. And I'm sorry, Edge is not who he was 9 years ago before he got hurt. All right. Oh, we did go over that comment. All right, so. One more match here, Playmaker. One more match here. We got Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
Seth Rollins is going to retain.
Yes, he is.
I don't care about that.
Yeah. That's
he retains what I'm interested in. It's how he's going to retain what I'm interested in.
Yes. Yes, there's definitely the interesting part of this whole thing is how he's going to
Because to be honest, they actually did that pretty well. Because I don't think nobody looked at Shinsuke and think he was going to turn like that. Hey, I'll be your partner. You need a third person? I'm here. We respect each other.
Yeah. I'd be your partner. And then I turn on you. That was a good setup, but we know what's going to happen.
We know it. I just want to see how it happens.
Yeah. And if the Judgment Day, Damian Priest plays a part in it at all, you know, if he comes out after the match and cashes in, that could be another wild thing that happens. But there's a lot of possibilities for that. A couple of other matches they're talking about was a lot of rumors were talking about Jimmy and Jay. They're not going to do that yet. They want to fight at WrestleMania. They've made interviews and talked about that. And of course, Intercontinental Championship, Gunther versus Chad Gable. Talked about adding that. And to answer the question that was asked, that was posed in the chat about who can beat Rhea Ripley, I only see one other person that can take the strap off of her.
Outside of Raquel?
Yes, there's only one other person.
Is really one other person, and yet,
she's on SmackDown.
And she's my favorite female superstar there.
Let's see if we had the same person. Who do you think?
But I'm not ready for that yet. Because
it's not going to happen yet.
There's one person I need her to feud with right now, and I think they're going that route because they teaming together.
Mm-hmm. So who do you think?
I need her to finish off the 4 horsewomen.
Okay.
Oh, we talking about Bianca Belair.
Yes, we're talking about the same person. Oh yeah. Okay.
I
knew it was going to be one of those two.
I need her to feud with Charlotte to complete the four horsemen thing. Okay, you already beat Belly, you beat Sasha, and you beat Becky. The only one you
Mm-hmm.
haven't feud at is with Charlotte, and I think that's where they're going with it.
Yeah. So after that, once we get that draft, and see, this could drag all the way out until like the Royal Rumble to WrestleMania because of them being on different brands. But to me, that's the only person that can
Them
take
the
that
only
belt
two.
off of Rhea. It's not Raquel Rodriguez because it's the only
If it,
person that has the power to do so.
Cause we see what she did. We see. I give them kudos for what her and Charlotte did at WrestleMania. That was a physical match for some ladies. Good gracious.
Yes, it was. I enjoyed that match a lot, man. That was great. I really enjoyed, just like you said, the physicality of it, the aggression. It was great. But yeah,
But yeah, to answer your question, outside of Raquel, is got nobody else but Bianca.
that's all it can be. That is all it can be. All right, so we'll switch it over here, Playmaker, and we'll talk some AEW here. All right, so we'll start with 0 Hour. First match of 0 Hour. Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. Adam Cole and NJF versus Aussie Open.
Now, here's the thing. I didn't watch the pay-per-view, but I knew the card. So my first thought was, okay, depending on how they do that match, which is the pre-show match,
Mm-hmm. 0 Hour. Yep.
it would probably give me a couple of thoughts in my head. MJF and Adam Cole end up winning. So now I'm sitting here looking like y'all are the beginning part of this whole pay-per-view. And now y'all in it. So now the beginning part, y'all become tag champions. Now my thought
Mm-hmm.
going into the main event, even though I'm not watching it, is like, okay, does Adam Cole do what he has done in WWE? Turn on MJF if he loses. How does Maxwell do if he loses to Adam Cole? Because we talking about the most prized title in AEW on the biggest show of the company.
Well, Playmaker CM Punk would disagree
So
with you on it being the biggest title in the.
I'm pretty sure he would. But I'm just saying, before I dive into the main event, these are my thoughts. What's going on in my head right now? Because I knew, okay, so you have your main event tag teaming to begin the whole entire event.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on how that match goes, will give me some more questions. We know how that match went. Now I got my questions, but we'll get there.
Yep. And then Mercedes Moné was in the crowd. We did get the kangaroo kick from MJF, and we got the double clothesline to set up the finish. So the fans got exactly what they wanted, right? Like MJF as a face is ridiculously good. I never would have
So a
thought
lot
it,
of
but
people surprised
I'm surprised, but him as a face is really actually working
because
well.
him as a heel.
He's so good at being a heel. I didn't know he could be as good at being a face. He's an obnoxious face too, so he's kind of like a little bit more of like a tweener, but leaning toward the face side. So I like that. The next All In 0 Hour match, the other one was Hook and Hook and Jack Perry, because there's no more Jungle. It's just Jack Perry now. The formal Jungle Boy is now just Jack Perry.
I'm still trying to get used to this guy being a heel.
Well, I just want to say that on a previous podcast I was online and saying I did when I was doing that podcast, I did say that I thought Jungle Boy was going to turn, and the reason is there's nothing else for him to do as a good guy. He was in a corner. If he stayed as a face, there was nothing else they could do with him. Now that he's getting heat, he's a heel. He can go in so many directions. You know, he can go into the TNT title picture, right? He's not going to be a world champion anytime soon, but he could get into the TNT title picture after a few more wins after this. So this was the right way to go with Jack Perry, because you had to get away from the Jungle Boy thing, because that was honestly stupid. And then the whole Luchasaurus thing, it works because he's like a dark dinosaur. But Jungle Boy without Luchasaurus, that was stupid. So it wasn't a great match in itself, but it did what needed to happen. He showed the Jungle Boy being a heel. He did the real glass Crimea River into the camera, trying to, take a shot at CM Punk, of course. but it was just what it needed to be. It was just what it needed to be.
And you put the title back on Hook.
Yes, which is where the title needs to be. You can't retire the FTW championship, not right now, because I mean, AEW has to have like 20 championships, like they have to. That's in their
I mean,
contract.
I don't know why it's in their contract because it is
It's a joke,
way
man. It's a
too.
joke. It's
I
definitely a
know
joke.
it is. This is way too many titles for that company. Good gracious!
Yeah, they've got
Like
several different divisions. This reminds me of like WWE when they bought WCW and then they just brought over all the titles. Because you think about it, digressing quickly, all the Ring of Honor championships, the trios title, the peer title, the Ring of Honor championship, the Ring of Honor television championship, Ring of Honor women's championship, they're all there. So you got those. Then you think about all the AEW championships, AEW trios championship. I forgot the Ring of Honor trios championships as well,
I
right?
know, and people want to complain that WWE got too many titles. Look at AEW.
Right. And then the thing that's funny about it is they don't have a separate show. My thought, AEW, if you watch this, I'm gonna give you a piece of game. Take Rampage, make it Ring of Honor Rampage instead of AEW. And keep the same name, just make it Ring of Honor Rampage. Put Ring of Honor on TV for an hour. Have a dedicated mini roster, right? It doesn't have to be like these people only are on Ring of Honor, but have a dedicated mini roster of people that we identify with Ring of Honor. That way you can build Ring of Honor. You can't be Ring of Honor if your world champion is Claudio Castagnoli and he's more involved in business with the BCC than he is with anything with Ring of Honor. That just doesn't work. That's poor booking. Booking one-on-one, guys. AEW, work on your storytelling person. Your in-ring work, your in-ring storytelling is great, but the story to get to things, you do need to work on that. Y'all were better when Cody was there. I don't know if it was Cody or not, but it was better when Cody was there. That's what I do know.
But yeah, like I said this earlier, I'm gonna say it on here. AEW put on a great part of professional wrestler lovers.
Mm-hmm.
If you want that professional wrestling type and you want to see the brutalness that is wrestling, AEW will give you what you want. But what sets WWE apart, the storytelling.
Yeah.
They will make you walk around as like, what is next? Because what you
Yeah,
just saw
AEW
was
is like,
like, wait a minute, hold on.
yeah.
What's next in this story? Because now I have to wait a week to find out what's gonna happen next.
Mm-hmm. And
Just
then
look at the
AEW has
bloodline.
like 70 stories as well. You gotta think about that too. AEW has like 70 shows, so there's so many shows that you can play out a story in 1 week in 3 different places.
Like when you look at the bloodline has been on 3 years, and they still have multiple ways to go with it.
Yep.
And it's like,
Absolutely.
what more can y'all? And you saying like they can keep going even after 3 years,
Yep.
and you just like, I can't wait for when they come back. Like you said earlier, they was mad because the bloodline wasn't part of SmackDown.
Yep.
Why? Because the bloodline is like the talk of wrestling.
Mm-hmm. And
They
that would have
want
took
to
away
see
from
what's next.
and that would have took away from what they were trying to do with the dedication show. So it made a lot of sense for them not to be there. So next we'll move on here, Playmaker. The first match on the official card, the real World Championship, CM Punk versus Samoa Joe. We already know who was going to win this match. That's 100%. If you know anything about wrestling, CM Punk was not losing this match. He's going to have that championship walking into Chicago at All Out this coming Sunday. We knew that, so that was never a question. I like the fact that he used the Pepsi plunge to win the match. If you don't know, that's his old school move. Instead of the GTS, he used the Pepsi plunge. So yeah, he won. He
That
leaves
works
Wembley.
because you're fighting Samoa Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before I knew all that was going to be the very next weekend is in Chicago, I was like, oh, Samoa Joe wins. That would be fitting. But when I found then when they told me the very next pay per views in Chicago, I'm like, oh yeah, CM
Yeah,
Punk ain't
a
there,
week
Chicago
later,
is
right?
riot.
Yeah.
If CM Punk ain't there, Chicago is rioting. So yeah, they did the business move on that
Hmm. And then next we had the Golden Elite versus uh, Bullets Club's Goals, Jay White and Juice Robinson, and Konosuke Takeshita. So the right team won. Uh, the Golden Elite, while it's cute and people like to hear them, bad guys have to win sometimes. You know, you have to lose. Kenny Omega can't win all the time. When I saw this, I was like, they're gonna lose because they're building up Jay White. Don't sleep on Jay White. Jay White is going to be a major player in AEW. Just watch. He is going to be a major player. Switchblade, the leader, Bullet Blood Gold, guns up. Watch for him. Future champion.
one. That's what I need from AEW. Build up more characters.
Oh yeah, Jay White is a character all his own. He's going to increase Bullet Club in the future, and we're going to see a lot of good things happen. I believe with Jay White being there.
Because if you just keep
Uh,
putting the same people on television, people aren't gonna get tired of it.
yep. Your character burnout. You got 3 different shows, so you got to make it. You got to do a good effort of not having the same people all the time. We need FTR and the Young Bucks to not be on All Out. We need them to stay home, nurse their wounds, take care of their kids, and have a good time. We don't see nothing about y'all until after All Out. You had your moment at All In. You're the next match, actually, we're going to talk about. FTR got the win. FTR needed to win because there was no point in the Young Bucks beating them. Let's just be real. Storyline wise, logic wise, there was no reason for the Young Bucks to be the one to be FTR. It's a big match. You
Uh,
put it all in because people want to see it.
until until Washington got in trouble with the law.
Why did it still want to do it? Right? Because you got to remember with AEW, you could not defend your championship for 2 or 3 months and you still be good. Right? So unless he was gonna get like convicted, unless he gets convicted and he's gonna do jail time, it's not even gonna affect him. And that's crazy how AEW does that. They don't abide by that if you don't you if you don't defend a championship in like 30 days that you can lose it. That's never been like a thing with them. It's a little weird. And this was actually a good match, right? If you saw the match, it was actually a good match.
And you talking about two of the top tag teams to ever do it.
Yeah,
It better been a good match.
yeah.
Nothing less.
And I gotta say, man, I don't like to say this, but this Stadium Stampede match, it was only okay. It really was
I
only
think that
okay.
here's my problem with AEW. When they got something and it hits, they try to repeat it numerous times, and you can't repeat something that was
Every
golden.
month. Every month.
Like everything that y'all did with the inner circle,
Mm-hmm.
that's the standard. You ain't topping that.
Right. So pull out certain matches when you haven't just had a match like a month before or less. There was a different kind of like blood match, right? This is Stadium Stampede, you just had blood and guts. You don't need to have those so close together, right? And you need to do a better job of saying these are our defining matches. This is what cuts off these feuds. And they should have cut off that feud after that blood and guts match. The Stadium Stampede, overkill. And it was desensitized because you just had a match similar and it just wasn't really that good. I wasn't impressed. I really wasn't
And the
impressed. I
same
thought it would
team
be better.
won.
Yeah,
Like
wasn't impressed.
Blackpool is a group who just wants to beat you to death.
And then you add Santana and Ortiz to that. That should have been a beatdown. Like
And
there's
yeah,
no
you
reason for them to
add
lose.
Santana and Ortiz, and it's just like, okay, we don't went from England. Now we bringing in Mexico to team up. Oh no, this is getting ugly. Like you should have them just have people in the crowd that's like this. Have them know like in they A&W in trouble. That's what you should be saying as an
Yeah.
AEW fan when you see
Mm-hmm.
this team. A&W in trouble.
Yeah, you should
Y'all
be.
don't put together a don't care. I just want to beat you till you bleed group together.
Mm-hmm. So the good news is they can always, when Bryan Danielson does return, they can kind of clean things up when he returns. It's kind of like the mouthpiece and the leader. So that will help them, but they got to do more with them until that time. They've got to win matches. They got to beat people down. So the next match, the
My
match
bad,
itself,
Wise. But when I first saw them, they were repping the Mexican flag. Maybe that's the kayfabe of it and whatnot. But
he's
I
correct.
mean, when
They're Puerto
when they first
Rican.
was in, when they first was introduced to me, it was the Mexican
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, they're Puerto Rican. Um, let's see here. So the next match that we have, of course, was the 4-way for the women's championship. So my thing with that match was just simply, I'm sure Wise said something else. I'm looking at the thing here. See what Wise got to say.
No, he was saying yeah, that's
Oh,
AEW.
yes, they are. Yeah. Ain't saying that they are Puerto Rican. Yeah. So for this 4-way match, I didn't have high expectations, and I'll be honest with you, I knew who was winning this match the whole time. That it didn't surprise me at all. Saraya was
So
clearly going to be the winner. She
so
came
let
out
me
with her
go
whole
back.
family and all that.
So let me go back what you said about Rey Mysterio and Santos, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want it to be a friendly competition.
Mm-hmm.
Mentor versus student. Student wins, we good. Mentor wins, we're good, right?
Mm-hmm.
I get that you have Tony Storm, Saraya, and this whole outcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I'm gonna be honest. I don't understand the outcast. I can because my thought talking was okay. These are your main three, right? But if you want to dive in deep into the roster and show the talent that AEW has, it should be at least three more people in that group.
Well, they're about to probably get some new people because it looks like Tony Storm's out. She got
And
into
I'm
a.
sitting there, and that was my thing. I'm like, so I see the four women, and it's gonna be pretty much either Tony Storm or Saraya. Which way you gonna go? And my thing was, but are you trying to keep the outcast going, or this is where blank hits the fan and we finna really get into it?
I think we switched it up the roster. I don't think Tony Storm was a great fit anyway. I think Ruby Soho and Saraya with, like you said, like two more people. That would be a really good foursome of females to really be like, we're taking over the women's division. One of them, of course, and we've already kind of got the seed sown for that, is going to need to be the TBS champion. And that's going to be Ruby Soho. So if Ruby wins the TBS championship, Saraya has the world championship. Then you have two more young ladies that come in and want to be a part of that. That's where the group really needs to go. And Tony Storm is a better face on her own.
To be honest, Ruby Soho is pretty much in the same spot she was when she was with WWE.
She's actually a little bit worse because at least she was the leader then. If we're being 100%
Exactly.
honest.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Wise, I don't think AEW can handle Mercedes. I don't think they can handle Mercedes. That
So,
one is
ooh.
too much. It's too big of a box office.
Oh, they can handle her. Because I'm going to tell you what they're going to do. They're going to do the same thing that they did with Naomi and Impact. In 3 months, she'll have a belt in 3 months.
Because that woman there, and I'm gonna be honest, I understand why they did what they did. I completely understand why they did what they did. I wish they didn't have to come to that point because
she could join. Mercedes could come in and join the Outcast.
Jordan, she'll be the ringleader.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
She'll
she
continue
joined
to
and
be the
become a
leader,
leader.
and she'll be the leader because I, I love Soraya. Okay, Mercedes is just different. She's just
Yeah.
different.
It's and outside of the constraints of WWE, she's even better. She just got to stay healthy. That's the problem with her. She got to stay healthy. All right. So this is another match we could talk real quickly about and get by. Sting and Darby Allin versus Swerve Strickland and Christian Cage in the coffin match. Swerve Strickland is one of my favorite wrestlers, right? I like the vibe, everything he got about him. They will not allow this man to win. Like, he looks great losing, but he loses too much.
I
And I
need
knew he
Swerve
was
back.
going to lose.
I need Swerve back in WWE.
They'd treat him worse than WWE. They really would. Because WWE, they would put him with I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it.
To be honest,
Swerve
that group
just
that
needs.
group is not the same without him. First and foremost,
They should have never brought him back without him.
but he only I don't even need him to be with the group. If you take this Swerve Strickland right here, that is in AEW, and you put him in WWE, you have something in the mid card.
Yeah, but they're not going to. But that's the thing. You got to remember too. This Swerve wouldn't be in WWE because they would make him into a different character. That's what WWE does. They wouldn't allow him to come over and be the same character. The only person they have let do that is who? Cody Rhodes. They have let nobody else come. When you come, you got to change your name and you got to be somebody different. They need to take this Swerve Strickland and he needs to get the TNT Championship. That's what they need to do over here. And that's why hopefully it's going. At least let him beat what's it called for the international championship. I mean, he got 70 championships. Can he get one of them? That's what needs to happen. He needs some championship goals. How you the leader of a group and people in the group got belts and you'll never have a belt?
Is that you going through the same thing that you was going through in WWE?
Well, he was one half of the tag championships until he turned on my boy Keith Lee. Now, I won't say this is match of the night, but I won't say it's not match of the night either. And that is Will Ospreay versus Chris Jericho. I'm just gonna say this about this match. If you have anything to add, cool. I'm just gonna say this about this match. The right person won. I love the fact that Chris Jericho talks a whole bunch of trash. He came down, he sung the Judas song with Fozzy, so he got him another check from AEW. Congratulations on that. But the right guy won, and the whole story made sense, and I loved it. And this is how it needs to happen. And now they've set up the beef with him and Guevara, so they can go that route right away.
You had Chris Jericho and his band perform live to his entrance with 80,000 people singing word for word. That had to be something Chris Jericho never thought he was able to see. And we talking about Chris Jericho been in the game for like almost 30 years, 3 decades worth. So you telling me I have a match, and before my match, I get to perform with my band. I give AEW that one.
Yeah.
I give him that one. That was brilliant.
Absolutely.
And then having Will Ospreay, because I'm gonna be honest, that promo that him and Jericho cut, I felt it. Oh, I felt it.
Yeah. And then the double Stormbreakers, I love that. We gotta go. 2 more left. So Billy Gunn and their claim versus the House of Black.
First and foremost, if I know anything about professional wrestling, that includes WWE, AEW. How many times do we put titles on guys in their late years? But I wanted it because I'm like, hold on. So y'all did what y'all did to Billy Gunn, and Billy Gunn cut a promo and he's saying he's bringing back this character. I'm like, man, y'all might have to put them titles on them. It's really gonna bring in Mr. A back.
Yeah. This wasn't Daddy A. This was Mr. A. The A man.
Okay.
And I mean it worked.
When he, man, like
It
I
worked.
said, they open it up. How many times in professional life have you seen guys that old with titles?
Yeah. Yeah. One of the 15 different sets of titles. And
Do
the
y'all
funny
realize
part
how
is,
old? Y'all realize how old Billy Gunn is?
right. He's the
He
same
don't
age
need
as
to
the
be.
Road Dog.
He don't need to be wearing. He don't need to be winning titles right now.
But they had to do this as the payoff for the story.
Hey, but when you gonna sit here and bring back that type of character though, mm, flip a coin. I'm just gonna say flip a coin.
Yeah, I knew. I mean, it was pretty clear. And I'm like, because they keep fighting them, they can't just keep losing to them or they lose all credibility before they're acclaimed. And everybody does love the acclaim. There was a lot of scissoring going on after the show, and during the show. There was a lot of scissoring. So, you know, you know how that goes. So
And I'm still to this day, I am not going to ever understand this whole thing with the scissors. I'm just not going to understand
we'll talk about it one day. We'll talk about it one day.
it. No, no, trust me. I had a lot of people tell me, and I see it. I'm just, for me, I'm like, this just doesn't work for me.
It's really funny if someone really breaks it down for you. It's actually hilarious. All right, so Wise does say she would make that division much better. I do agree that Mercedes would. The GOAT, hey, you could definitely consider the GOAT. I wouldn't argue with you. And then he says in 6 months, Will Ospreay will be the hottest free agent in all of wrestling, and he's going to end up right there in the Don Callis family in 6 months.
Pretty much.
That's what's going to be crazy. All right, and then I'm gonna give you the camera, and I'm gonna let you have fun with the main event.
Now, if y'all remember my question, so we have MJF and Cole win the Ring of Honor tag titles. Now you remember my questions. Okay, now you tag champions. Now how is the main event gonna go? How does the loser handle this at the end of the show? And I'm pretty sure the match was stellar. The match was what it needed to be for the main event. MJF comes out on top. If, I know wrestling fans. This is where you get anxious. Does Adam Cole does what he normally does? Because you just lost the title. I mean, you had an opportunity to get the title. You did not get the title. What we gonna do? And remember, when he had an interview with Renee and they showed the clip of what he was saying to Roderick Strong about his relationship with MJF, you was like, okay, we might have a turn coming here. This might not last as long as we want it to last. Adam Cole blows it off, whatnot, does what you do as a good guy, so to speak. Match is over. They celebrating, and to my surprise, nothing happened. They ended the show the way that Cool wanted to with Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar. That's the way AEW ended it. As of right now, Adam Cole and MJF still good. MJF still the world champion. Him and Adam Cole are the tag champions. But here's my question though: for how long? For how long? Because I feel it. I feel it. And if I know anything about Adam Cole, that he wants that title.
The way he was looking at that title after they won those tag team titles, he wants that title. What I think is they wanted to end the show and send everybody home with a feel good moment. I've said all along, and I'll continue to pipe this horn the whole entire time. This is going to be a double turn. We're going to solidify MJF as a good guy, and Adam Cole is going to become the heel that he needs to be. Adam Cole as a good guy is okay. Adam Cole as a heel is great. Can we get the best version of Adam Cole?
He's asking for the NXT Adam Cole because he literally, as the heel, was running NXT. And there was nothing you can do about it.
and you got Roderick Strong, and you got the Kingdom already together. All you gotta do is add Adam Cole as the leader, and we got a new Undisputed Era 2.0. Of course, they won't call it that, but got a new Undisputed Era 2.0.
And if that happens, I know Twitter or X gonna blow up.
Yeah,
I already know it.
and if that happens, we come on here. Oh, I am going to be very happy because Undisputed Era, they shocked the system.
Oh, if that happens, I'm gonna come in here and say, Tony Khan, I hope you know what you did, and I hope you're ready for it. Because this group here, you better let them run the asylum for a while.
You are completely correct. You are completely correct.
But like I
And
said, how long are we gonna keep this going?
so the question is, would your boys like to see Undisputed Era 2.0 with another name? The answer to the question?
Yeah! 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 Yeah!
Man,
What we need to say.
still to this day, I wish they would have brought Undisputed Era to the main roster. I wish they did it. That would have been.
I don't understand why they didn't. I definitely don't understand why they didn't.
Really, to this day, bothers me. Like, why do y'all even bring Undisputed Era up together?
The only reason I can think of is because they knew if they did, they weren't going to treat them the same way. And they really have them be like the guys in NXT and get lost in the shuffle. That's the only thing I can think of because, they have to have some self-awareness that when they bring these guys up, they don't treat them the way that they were treated in NXT for the most part. So I just have one thing to say about the main event. I chastised earlier AEW for their storytelling. The one story that they have gotten correct, the one story is Adam Cole and MJF. From the moment they started tagging together, they have gotten the story right. We can talk about a lot of other things and how they need to focus on more things and more storytelling overall, but they have gotten this right. So shout out to them. They have definitely gotten this story right. And they will continue, I think, as long as this happens, plays out to get it right. But the foreshadowing's already there. The lines of the sand already drawn, the writing's on the wall. We know what's going to happen. I believe Adam Cole's going to turn. And I'm going to be for it because that's the Adam Cole I really like.
I mean, we're in the area where heels are popular.
I've always liked heels, so yeah. But I feel you.
We are
Especially
in that era.
when you lean more towards the heel side of being a tweener, because people, I mean, he can come out as a straight heel, and everybody will still go Adam Cole, baby, because it's Adam Cole.
I mean, thinking about the heels in wrestling. Judgment Day is a heel.
Yeah.
But everybody loves mommy.
Mm-hmm. Bloodline heels. Everybody love the Usos.
I mean, if you turn Adam Cole heel, they gonna love him.
I'm gonna
like when MJF was a heel and he was feuding with CM Punk. They was loving MJF.
Now CM Punk's showing holistic tendencies, which I do like, as a matter of fact, to be honest.
Hey, this coming from a guy who really don't like CM Punk.
Yeah. He's not the most popular guy everywhere, but they do a very smart thing. Have you noticed Collision is in Chicago every couple of months?
That's basically CM Punk's show.
Yeah. And they make sure they go to Chicago once he starts getting like booed too much or he's not getting enough cheers. All of a sudden, they're magically back in Chicago within another week or two. So they're doing a smart thing. They're trying to keep at least some of the babyface cheers and stuff for CM Punk, but he's at a point in his career where I think once you're at the advanced age in his wrestling career that he's at, you should be a bad guy. You should have help, right? You should.
Like, look when they did with Chris Jericho when they first started. They had the Inner Circle. They were heels. They ain't stop everybody from not loving the Inner Circle.
Right. And that's where you gotta build a group around CM Punk at this point, right? We don't want to see CM Punk overcoming everybody like he's doing Samoa Joe and righting all the wrongs in his career. We don't care about that. Give
And
us
I'm gonna say
something to
this.
stick our teeth into.
I'm gonna say this because we dove into it real quickly, and I didn't get to say what I wanted to say. I gotta be honest. Christian being a heel, the way he's acting is having me rolling. It's having me rolling right now. Like it's funny. Lucha shows you're the monster. You the one who does all the work. Christian's gonna be the one who does all the damn talking and takes all the glory. And it's working because I am laughing.
And the best part of it is Christian is sitting there talking trash about people not holding their own. And he's not even a real champ. He's
He's
oblivious
not
to
the
the
champ.
fact that he's
He's
doing
not-
exactly what he's talking about with everybody else. It's hilarious.
that what
I do
makes him
agree.
a great heel. Like, wait a minute, how you sitting here talking about people ain't doing? You ain't even win the title, and it's annoying as hell.
But you gotta love it because that's the best version of Christian. And I'm excited because the reports are the Edge might be going to AEW. He might be finished with WWE. And if you get Edge and Christian back together in AEW with this heel Christian and a heel Edge, oh, that could be fun.
Here's my thinking, because
And
I've
it-
seen the article, and my
he should
thinking is,
be Sexton
I
Hardcat.
think the only reason why Edge is going there is to be with Christian one last time.
Yeah.
Because in my true honest opinion, I think Edge is ready to really call it a career.
Oh yeah, he don't
'Cause
want
I
to take
really
them bumps like that no more.
I really think Edge feel like he has done everything he was set out to do for his wrestling career. And I think if he does pull that trigger to go AEW, it's to be with Christian one last time. That's it.
And then he's not going to use the Edge name because Christian doesn't actually use Christian. It's Christian Cage, right? Because he has to use
He just added a last name to it.
Yeah, I would love for Edge to be Sexton Hardcastle. Let's do that. Edge is Sexton Hardcastle. Let's do it. Let's give an ode back to his career before he was in WWE on the Indies.
But what people are saying what's going on between Edge and WWE is not true. Trust me. Edge is WWE through and through, and trust me, Vince McMahon is not. Y'all can hate what Vince McMahon does, but he is not a stupid businessman.
I think he would let him go.
Especially when it comes to a guy like
Edge,
Edge, who is homegrown from WWE. That's all Edge knows.
I think they would let him do it though, just for the sake of him being able to close out his career. Like if he was going to work,
they did it with Chris Jericho.
Yeah, if he was going to really work if he was going to work as long as Jericho's actually worked there, I don't think they would want him to go. But I think they know the Edge is pretty much almost done. So him just going there and finishing out with Christian, having one last run with Christian, and then that last feud where they fight one-on-one. That's kind of all Edge has left that he really needs. So
they looked at Chris Jericho and say, you know what, go for it, because pretty much, I think Vince signed off on the fact that having another promotion is what wrestling needed.
Well, it's a lot. It's a lot we can get into with that, right? Because a lot of people are saying that they pissed with Chris Jericho, and they're also pissed with Dean Ambrose, or as he's known now, Jon Moxley, because they don't like that they went and became two early pillars of that company instead of coming back to WWE. So that's the story that's out there.
That's a story, but trust me, the reason why I know that is because remember when Stone Cold was doing his podcast, we had to get permission from Vince to get Chris Jericho on there.
Yeah, he did. He did. Because remember, he's doing his podcast with WWE.
Yeah. And Vince signed off on it.
Well, you gotta remember though, one thing about Vince, though, Playmaker. One thing about Vince, he's about that money. And the episode with Chris Jericho up there talking about AEW on this podcast that we know is associated with WWE, ratings gold.
Because everybody's like, wait a minute, they allow Chris Jericho to be on Stone Cold's podcast? Wait a minute. Whoa, what is happening here?
And what did everybody do, including us? We watched it. That's what they want.
Oh, I'll watch it. I'll watch every Broken Skull session there is. I wasn't missing not one. I was on it. I wish he kept going because I love to hear the backstories behind their careers.
Yeah, that was really the best part of it, right? Was all the stuff that you would have never known, because these were careers that was before social media. Now, like now, you know everything before it happens, but it wasn't like that, during that time frame with a lot of the people that he talks about and a lot of the things that they go over. So love to hear that. So Playmaker, we can sit here for another hour, but we're gonna end it so that people can watch Raw, because Raw's on now.
He definitely is on. Oh
So
boy.
Playmaker, tell the people where they can find you.
Oh man. Facebook, Darnell Playmaker Silence. Instagram, Twitter, Playmaker20. Uh, like Cole Johnson say, one of the hardest working content creators out there because I got like 5 different shows I'm doing. Cool will tell you. So you go to the YouTube channel, type in the Playmakers blog, subscribe, and you will see everything that I'm doing. Earlier today, I just dropped the recap of Team USA win over Greece. Wednesday, you'll be seeing me talk college football because it's that time.
It is definitely that time. So for me, we go over everywhere. It'll be another 10 minutes. So let's just do it like this. Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. EST or EDT now, Eastern Daylight Time. Eagles Elite Podcast. We're talking all things Philadelphia Eagles. That would be youtube.com/@Eagles Elite Podcast. And you can also find it at youtube.com/@Shady Sports Network. It was also streaming this show that we're on right now, Monarchs of Wrestling. On Thursday, catch me on Birds Deep. On Friday, you can catch me on Play Caller Sports Talk, and that's at www.playcallersportstalk.com/live. Also, right after that same channel, you can catch me on the NFL Gridiron Flex, playcallersportstalk.com/live. Again, Saturdays, we get into that time one more week, the NFC Beast, and you can find it on multiple platforms, BS3 Network, Play Caller Sports Talk,
Lord.
Eagles Elite,
You
Real Wise
wise,
Productions. Yes, sir.
you wise, Deets and oh my god.
Oh, no, Deets is out on there, sir.
No, he's not.
No, sir. Deets is not part of that show. So Ben was doing it last year, but we're going to have Mr. Big Time stepping in this year to be our Cowboys rep. And if you haven't seen anything from Big Time, let me tell you, this is how good Big Time is. Big Time is a Cowboys fan, and I watch his streams.
So I know what kind of Cowboys fan he is.
Yes, sir. I watch his
he's-
streams.
He's in that very minority of the Cowboys fans. Okay.
He definitely is. And of course, Couch Coach and my man Martin Pounds will be on there. We're going to have some special guests sliding through at different times. And then Tuesday nights, starting next week, Matchup Madness returns. That's also on playcallsportstalk.com/live. We're going to get back to the roots. We're covering every matchup every week. Some will be live, some will be videos. But every team, every week. Get ready. Football's back next week.
Which
We're
reminds
bringing
me,
it to you.
I got to get ready in 2 weeks. I got to deal with Cool McCain and the Eagles. Oh God.
I'm going to have to make an appearance on Playmaker Show for that one. Have a little fun with it.
And I can't say nothing either because I know the outcome.
Hey, you never know, man. You never know.
Right.
That's why they play
right,
the game.
But you're right, but you seen what I put when I previewed that game.
Yeah, I did.
And I had no choice.
I did. It's okay, man. And good news is I do have Cooper Kupp on my fantasy team on my keeper league. So that'd be good for my keeper league.
Oh boy. This is just the beginning, y'all. Trust me, as we continue to grow, and especially when we get to the road to on the road to WrestleMania, it's gonna be ridiculous.
Just stay tuned. That's all I can tell you. Stay tuned. And with that, your boys are out. We do have some other individuals that you'll be seeing on with us. Wise may be one of them, but stay tuned. We coming. Monarchs of Wrestling, episode 1. We out.